I think before we start talking about the concept of self compassion, we need to understand why we require it in the first place. I mean, assuming that all of us as individuals, as human beings, absolutely love ourselves, why would we even want to have a concept of self compassion? If you think about it, right? There was this book that I was reading, and there was an interaction between the Dalai Lama and the psychologist who happens to ask him that, there's this particular client who absolutely hates herself. What do I do about it? How do I deal with her? And the Dalai Lama was completely shocked. He said that, how can anybody hate themselves? I mean, in the Buddhist culture, we are taught to love ourselves inherently. Why would you hate yourself? He couldn't wrap his mind around the fact that somebody could absolutely hate themselves. Yet, that is the truth. Yet, as human beings, we go for days, absolutely detesting ourselves, having negative thoughts, just finding ourselves being worthless or not good at something. And it's completely normal. It becomes a problem when it starts affecting your mental health, when it starts affecting your physical health. So, the concept of self compassion arose from the fact that, hey, I think at some level, we don't necessarily like ourselves that much. Maybe the other person likes us, but we don't necessarily like ourselves. And research actually suggests that 7 out of 10 people really don't like themselves. I wouldn't necessarily go out to say that they hate themselves, but they don't like themselves. They don't have a very high, as we like to call it, self-concept about themselves. So let's try and understand why that happens, and then maybe that can create a building foundation for understanding how we can develop ways to be more compassionate to ourselves. Basically, it comes down to a simple fact of your relationship with your own self. How strong or how weak your own self-esteem is. What kind of stories you're narrating to yourself about each and every experience that you have day in and day out. So you have created this mental image. It could be a good mental image, it could be the worst mental image. And that's an idea that you've created in your head. And that idea has turned into a belief. Now, your belief is your own, and some people are very fixed about it. That this is who I am, this is how I live my life, I don't want to change for anyone, this is exactly how it is. What you have to understand is this circle, right? What you believe about yourself is how you present yourself to the outside world. What you believe about yourself is how you present yourself to the outside world. How you present yourself to the outside world, that information that you're putting out, hey, I'm smart, hey, I'm dumb, hey, I'm lazy, hey, I'm awesome. Whatever it is that your mental image is, that is how the world perceives you, right? That is how the world perceives you. Okay, this is how this person is. This perception makes them to behave in a certain way with you. Either they'll be nice to you, either they'll be mean to you. And that perception reinforces your belief about yourself. So do you see how I'm talking about a circle? So it's all fundamentally very closely related to your belief systems. And that's the crux, I would say, of a problem to begin with. And everything is related to your self-image. The conversations you're having in your head, the conversations you're having about other people in your head, about a particular event. This is also something that we covered in our last video on anger. That it all stems down from an idea that turns into belief and then turns into your reality, which may not be true. It's just a perception, it's not a reality. While all suffering is inevitable, some sufferings are self-created. And that is where self-hatred, or oh, I'm not good enough, or I can't do this, or I just feel like shit today, I'm not worthy of this kind of steps. So you start hating yourself. And neuroscientists in England have actually detected that when you show a picture of another human being who you absolutely hate, it triggers 4 important parts in your brain. And 2 parts of that brain is very closely related to decision making, right? Which is overthrown. So a human being is wired to respond to violence. We are violent people by nature. Just imagine that violence being directed towards yourself. Let's take an example. There's a situation where probably someone has made a snide comment behind your back, maybe your friend, or I don't know, somebody who you know, and she or he says that she's arrogant. What does she think of herself? She doesn't know what she's talking about. She's dumb. Anything, we come across office cooler movements or whatever it is that you like to call. Now, your anger towards that person could be very fleeting for that moment. You would have some conversations in your head that, why did that person say this? Like, what were they thinking? What, right? And then you let go of your anger towards that person because maybe that person wasn't that important. Now, if you hold on to that and then you start creating an entire story around it, why did that person say this to me? What was the intention? Did I ever do anything? Am I really like that? Is this how I'm presenting myself to the world? Am I really arrogant? Oh God. And the conversation starts. And the conversation starts. And it builds into something more. And that's your entire day gone. Just imagine. Because of the story you were telling yourself, which the other person just happened to mention, a snide comment. They didn't narrate the whole story, but you've created the whole thing in your head. And now you're going to hold on to it and you're going to replay it and replay it and replay it like a broken record again and again and again until you get bored or tired of it and then you move on. So you see how damaging it can be. And that is why one needs to practice or develop this exercise of self-compassion. Self-compassion is nothing but an idea that you value yourself, you are kind to yourself and to other beings. It starts with being kind to yourself, right? Self-compassion is all about patting yourself in the back and saying, hey, I had a bad day. I am flawed. I can be terrible at many things. I may fail every day. But you know what? It's okay. I've tried. I'm only human. I'm only flawed, and I will recover and get back. Self-compassion is so important to build a stronger self-esteem, to have a stronger self-image, to have a stronger self-concept of who you are. Because even if the world tears you down, you should have your own back. You can't belittle yourself and say, you're not good, you're not worth it, go away, you're not good enough. I mean, if you're going to be your worst enemy, you as it is have the entire world pitted against you, right? And we don't want that. Look, you cannot always get what you want. Life is not fair. That's just how life is. It doesn't work that way. But people that show more self-compassion to themselves understand the realities of life, understand that life is unfair, and they still choose to respond to situations in a more mature and rational way, in a way that serves them with enough kindness to give to themselves as well as to the world. So the 3 ways that you can probably choose to practice self-compassion is, number 1, by really understanding why self-compassion is important. And we'll discuss about compassion in detail in our next video. But today we wanted to discuss about self-compassion, and why compassion is really important. What are the merits of it? What is the advantage of it? It gives you a sense of satisfaction. It gives you a sense of happiness, a sense of fulfillment. Number 2, do not be too attached to this idea of yourself in your head. If you're too attached to anything, be it yourself or to anyone for that matter, a status, a title, a house, a job, anything, you are in to create a space for only suffering and mental unrest. So try and detach yourself so that you can create that space of empathy and kindness towards your own self. And third, when everything fails, even if things are not going right in any possible way and you feel like you hate yourself the most, just tell yourself that you tried your best. And make sure you do, that you tried your best and this is all that you could do. I hope this video helped you in understanding fundamentally why we don't like ourselves enough and how self-compassion can maybe lead the path to developing more kindness and empathy, not to yourself, but also to others. If you like this video, please subscribe and like and share with your friends, and we will see you on a very interesting topic next soon.